So in the last few classes, we have discussed Biot-Savart's law, and we have started with magnetic vector current, and we have discussed Biot-Savart's law, and then we have seen application of the Biot-Savart's law to find magnetic field due to a current carrying conductor. We have seen, or we have derived expressions for magnetic field due to a current carrying conductor, long and straight current carrying conductor, as well as a circular current carrying conductor or a coil carrying current. Now let's move to the next topic. Our next topic is Ampere's circuital law. Ampere's circuital law. So this is our next topic, and we'll discuss what exactly is this. And again, just like we have seen application of Biot-Savart's law, we'll also see application of Ampere's circuital law. So what exactly is this? This is again, and again, I think in the last class I told you that you always try to map whatever we study here with whatever we have studied in the electrostatics chapter. So according to this, or this Ampere's circuital law, you will find its resemblance in the electrostatics Gauss law, right? So the Gauss's law, which we have studied in the electrostatics, it is similar to that. It is not exactly that, it is similar to that. The purpose of Gauss law and purpose of Ampere's law are similar. So what exactly is Ampere's law? Just like in Gauss law, we had a Gaussian surface. Same way in circuital law, Ampere's law, we have a loop, right? Loop means a closed path carrying a current, right? That is called Ampere's or Amperian loop. In Gauss law, we had Gaussian surface. So what is this law? So this law states that the line integral of the magnetic field around any closed circuit is equal to mu naught times the total current threading through the closed circuit. Mu naught times the total current right now I'll just write threading the loop. So now this is an important thing to understand. Few things here. That is line integral. I think this we already know. Something, any function dot dl, and you integrate that. That is called line integral. Dl means a very small segment on the path or the length of the magnetic field around any closed circuit. So this closed circuit is nothing but our Ampere's circuit or Ampere's loop is equal to mu naught. We already know that is permeability times the total current threading the loop. This is important part, that is current threading the loop. So we will try to understand these basic elements of this law first, then we'll go ahead and study this in detail. So what exactly is this? We know that if there is a, suppose, a loop like this in which there is a current flowing. So if there is a current flowing through this loop means a closed, not always circular, a closed path. Now here, if in this closed path, that means obviously it is a conductor and it is a wire like this and it is like this. So in this closed path, if there is a current flowing like this, there will be a magnetic field associated with this, and that magnetic field will be there at different points. I mean, the magnetic field can be present here as well as here as well as here. So these magnetic fields, different magnetic fields, or different means their direction and magnitude will be different at different points. So this is possible. The same thing is possible if it is a straight line as well, not just any. If there is a current carrying conductor, there will be a magnetic field. Now, what does this Ampere's circuit law means is that this is the current carrying conductor, right? Now, suppose I have to find the magnetic field here, that is V1, the magnitude of V1. Then through that point, I have to, just like we have done in Gauss law, I have to create a, or I have to find a, or consider or imagine an imaginary loop, right? An imaginary surface, correct? So the closed curve, that is, suppose B is anywhere. Suppose you have a wire or anything, then, or any conductor, then through that you have to assume, or you have to imagine a imaginary surface, right? So, and that surface can be anything. Suppose this itself, suppose I have to find B here, because we already have a surface. Suppose this is B, this is the B we have to find, and this is our closed loop. And then we have current carrying conductors. Say conductors are like this. There are multiple conductors. I hope you are able to imagine it in 3D. So the currents may be, the current will be given now. Suppose this is the current I1, this is current I2, this is current I3, this is current I4, and this one is current I5. So what do we see here? In the upward direction, total current is I1 plus I2 plus I3 plus I4, and in the downward direction there is current I5. So the total current, threading means what? You must have seen those circular ring-like things on which a cloth is tied, and then they do some work there with needle and thread, right? So in that, it is done like this. You have to prick here and take out the thread, prick here, take out the thread, like this. So that is, from there this word threading comes. So these currents are also like that. So there is total I1 plus I2 plus I3 plus I4 current in upward direction and I5 in downward direction. Suppose this I1 is equals to 2 amperes, I2 is equals to 3 amperes, I3 is equals to 1 ampere, and I4 is equals to 1 ampere. So this total upward current is 7 amperes, right? And suppose this I5 is 2 amperes. So that means total current threading this surface or imaginary loop is the total current, that is I total. This is equal to 7 minus 2 amperes. And what will be the direction of this 7 minus 2 amperes? 7 is upward, 2 is downward. So the resultant direction of this current will be upwards. So this is how we find the total current, threading the loop. So these are different concepts. Line integral, we already know. Line integral of magnetic field means we want to do this, B dot dl. We'll relate them together after some time. For the timing, just understand these different elements of this law. So that is line integral. Magnetic field we have already done. Closed circuit is this, is equal to mu naught we know, and the current threading, that is what we have seen here. So these are different elements of this. Now we understand what exactly is we'll try to understand what exactly is this Ampere's circuital law. So in the simplified form, right, whatever we have written, that same thing can be written in mathematically as B dot dl, and remember both are vectors. So dot means actually dot product. We are talking about dot product, that is B dl cos theta, where theta is angle between B and dl. This is equals to mu naught times the total current thread in the loop. So mu naught times I. This is our expression, or this is the mathematical form or representation of Ampere's circuital law. Something similar you had in Gauss law. There it was total charge enclosed divided by epsilon naught. That was E dot ds. That was surface integral of electric field. This is line integral of magnetic field. That is equals to mu naught into I, where I is the total current threading the loop. Now, in simplified form, this Ampere's circuital law states that if field B is directed along the tangent to every point on the perimeter L of a closed curve and its magnitude is constant along the curve, then B into L will be equals to mu naught into I. Right? That is, if the angle between B and DL, if that is you can say if that is 0 degree, so BDL cos theta will be DDL. So integration of that will be L. So B into L will be equals to mu naught into I. So I is the net current enclosed by the closed circuit. The closed curve is called Ampere's loop, which is a geometrical entity and not a real wire loop. It's not a real loop, right? So don't confuse that. It's just like your Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface we imagine as a surface which passes through the point of observation where we want to find the electric field. Same way Ampere's circuital loop here we find the loop again, just like there we assume a surface, here we have to assume a loop. Right? Now this can be used for various things which we'll see. First we try to understand what is this. So if there is a current carrying conductor, say this, now let us try to understand its practically how or what does it mean. Suppose this is a current carrying conductor which carries current I, right? So now at any point, suppose here there will be a magnetic field due to this I, right? So suppose this is the point P. So the magnetic field here will be, we know that it will be given by right hand thumb rule. So thumb you have to place in the direction of current, and the four fingers, the curl, right? When we the curve or the curl of four fingers, they will actually give you the direction of the magnetic field. So at P, if you keep your thumb on your screen, thumb on the line, then the four fingers will actually in this side where P is there, your four fingers will be actually going into the plane. That is, from your side, it will be going towards the back side of the screen. So it will actually, the magnetic field here will actually look like this. It is going away from us. So it will actually look like this cross, right? Okay. So now what we do? Now we try to draw the loop through this point, because we suppose we have to find magnetic field, or not find, suppose here there is some magnetic field, so its direction we all know. Now let's draw a loop. So try to understand, this section is now not there. It is actually like this. This wire is on the top and this section is at the bottom of this loop. Now this loop is imaginary, first thing. This wire is actual, but this loop is imaginary. And the direction of magnetic field here will be like this, right? So you can place your thumb there and check. It will be like this. Now that is the direction of B, correct? Now suppose there is a very small segment of, in the same, if this is the loop, suppose there is a very small segment of length of this closed loop, because this we have taken, and now you can see loop is not the one in which there is any current flowing, because loop is imaginary, right? This length, let it be dl, right? And let this be the direction, the same direction. dl also has the same direction. So, and if it is at a distance, say r from this, that is the radius of this, then we know few things. What we know? We know that this B magnitude will be is equals to mu naught I divided by 2 pi r. This is something which we have discussed in the last class itself. This one, B is equals to mu naught I divided by 2 pi a. That is the magnetic field due to an infinite long wire at a point which is at a distance from the wire. So it is similar case here. So this will be the magnitude of magnetic field, right? Okay, now we have this, we have actually drawn this line, this curve, which you can see here. And now you can think about this curve making an imaginary surface like this. And then this current I is actually the total current which is threading the loop, that is going or across or the loop. So that is the total current I, right? And this wire is infinitely long wire, right? So the field B is directed along the circumference of the circle of radius r with the wire, and this is what we already have. Now what will be the value of B dot dl? So this B dot dl will be nothing but B dl cos theta. What is theta? Theta is angle between B and dl. Theta is equals to 0 degrees. So this is equals to B dl, right? I think there is no doubt in this. Now what will be line integral of B dl? So line integral of B dl will be equals to what? B is the magnetic field, take it out, and again we have taken Ampere's law, so it is a circle. This loop we have chosen is a circle. So on that circle, every point is at same distance from the wire, because wire is at the center. Then we have drawn this circle, and that circle on the circumference, if we have a point, that point will be, all those points will be equidistant from the center. So that's why, and you can see here, what is the magnetic field formula? It is mu naught I divided by 2 pi r. So that means it depends only on r, and r is constant. So that's why all the magnetic field will be constant. That's why we can take this B outside, such that inside we have only dl. And that is a regular shape. It's a circle. So this will be equals to B into 2 pi r, because that is the integration of dl, right? Now what is B? B value is this mu naught I divided by 2 pi r. So now write that this is mu naught I divided by 2 pi r into 2 pi r. So what happened now? So what do we get now? We get mu naught into I. So from where did we start? We start from this surface integral of B dl. And what did we get? We got this, that is mu naught I. So this is the proof of Ampere's circuital law. Again, very important. They don't ask it generally, but it is good to know how to prove Ampere's circuital law. If it comes, it will be of, I mean, it will be a short answer type question, but this is how we prove it, right? So that is the Ampere circuital law proof. Now coming to the application part of this, just like we had seen application of Biot-Savart's law. So let's start with application of Ampere's circuital law. So we have used Gauss theorem or Gauss law to calculate and determine electric field due to a charged or charge distribution at various points. Same way, we'll be using Ampere circuital law to find or determine or calculate magnetic field due to a current carrying conductor at different points. We have already used Biot-Savart's law for that. Now we are using a different law, that is Ampere's circuital law. So let's do it for the straight current carrying conductor. Actually, this will be just opposite of what we have used for the proof. We have used the formula B is equals to mu naught I by 2 pi r in order to find or in order to prove the Ampere's law. Now we are going to do the opposite of this, right? That is, we will use Ampere circuital law to prove or to come up with this formula for current due to infinite conductor due to a straight conductor of infinite length. So that is the first application, that is magnetic field due to a straight conductor. Yeah, so let's see this. So it's again pretty simple here. What we have to do is we have been given this straight current carrying conductor, or wait, so this is our straight current carrying conductor, and as you can see, what we have done, the next step, just like our Gauss theorem. So this is your current carrying conductor, and this circle which you are seeing, that is actually your Ampere's loop, because we have to find magnetic field. Suppose this is the point where we have to find the magnetic field. This is the point P where we have to find magnetic field. So the magnetic field here, what we are going to do there we are going to draw a circle with this radius. So with this radius, we have drawn this circle. Remember, the circle is imaginary. We have drawn it. That is the loop. That is the imaginary loop, which will be called Ampere's loop. The points which we have to consider before drawing any Ampere's loop is basically keep your loop such that the magnetic field is constant at every point in magnitude. In magnitude, the magnetic field should be constant. Its direction may be different. So at every point, the direction will be different. For example, if I consider this point here, magnetic field will be like this, right? But here, magnetic field will be like this. So it is different at different point, but its magnitude is same. So even here at P, its magnitude will be like this. I mean, this is the magnetic field vector, right? What do we have to do next? Next, consider a small segment of this wire here, of this loop, not wire, very small segment. Let us call this as DL, right? And suppose this is the direction of DL. So the DL and B will be obviously in the same direction because B is tangential, right? So it will be along the direction of tangent, and obviously DL is also part of the circle, so that is also part of the tangent or along the tangential direction. Done. So now you calculate what all things we have done. We have stepwise, if I list it down, stepwise we have done. First step is to identify Ampere's loop, right? Second is you calculate the sigma I, that is total current. So in this case, that is only I, right? The third point or the third step is that you apply this, that B dot dl will be equals to mu naught into I. So similar steps, just like your Gauss law. So we have done what all steps we have already done. We have done this. We have not found yet the total current, but now we see that there is only one current going through this. So sigma I is equals to I. This current is I, right? So this is the total current. Now the third step is you have to do this integral B dot dl, line integral, will be equals to mu naught into I. So we have written it like this. Now we have to find B, and B is constant, so take it outside, and this is line integral of dl is equals to mu naught I. So this dl's integration is nothing but 2 pi r, that is equals to mu naught I. So B is equals to mu naught I divided by 2 pi r. This is the magnetic field due to a straight long current carrying conductor at a point P, which is a distance r from that long wire. So we have got the same result which we have got through the Biot-Savart's law. The only thing is it is a different procedure, and as you can see, this is just reverse of whatever we have done earlier, while we have proved what was stated by the Ampere circuital law. So that is the first application. It's a very simple application. Mostly if you get question in this, it will be a 1 or 2 marker question, mostly 2 markers or 3 markers question. Let's move to little complex application of this. That is the second application, that is magnetic field due to a solenoid. Now, in order to understand this first, we should know what is a solenoid. This solenoid is a simple device, you can say, which is cylindrical in shape. So it will look like this, a cylinder like this, and on that there will be coils, right? There will be coils, and those coils will be wound on top of this. So these coils will actually look like this. This is what a solenoid is. So these are actually circular coils. Right, and there is this is a hollow metal cylinder on which these circular coils are wound, and there will be current flowing in this coil. The current may flow like this or maybe in the opposite direction. So in all the coils, the current will be flowing in the same direction. So it is a, if you observe this, this is actually a circular coil, and due to every coil there will be a magnetic field. Again, we will use the right hand rule. So in this case, our conductor is in round shape. So our the four fingers of our hand, right hand, that will actually should point in the direction of current, and then the thumb will point in the direction of magnetic field. So in this case, if you have to place your fingers, you will place it, as you can see, the coils are there on the back side of your screen as well. Now if you place your fingers, the four fingers of your right hand, on this coil in the direction of current, then your thumb will actually point in the left direction. So the direction of your thumb will be actually this right thumb, and that is the direction of magnetic field as well. We know that this rule, right hand rule, can be interchangeably used. If it is a straight conductor, your thumb should be in the direction of the current, and then the four fingers will be the direction of magnetic field, which will be circular in nature. And if it is circular coil, then the current direction should be given by your four fingers should be in the direction of the current, so it will form a circle, but the direction of thumb will be the direction of magnetic field, which will be a straight line. So straight line or straight direction of current, circular magnetic field. Circular direction of current, straight magnetic field. Simple. Right, so in this case, again, you have to do it yourself. You will have to try to do it yourself. Place your fingers and come up with the direction of magnetic field. Now that is due to one coil. If one coil is like this and the current flowing in this in it is like this, then the magnetic field will be in this direction. And now there are multiple such coils. So obviously due to each coil there will be the same magnetic field, and they all will get added up. So the total magnetic field will be nothing but N into B, that where B is magnetic field due to one coil. Right. So now on this device or on this particular solenoid, now we have to apply the Ampere circuital law and find the magnetic field at different points wherever it is possible. So we have points outside as well as inside, and as well as points on the surface. So these are different points. That is point outside, point on the surface, and point inside. So there we have to find the magnetic field in these three different places. Right. So now what will happen to the magnetic field? First, we'll see the qualitative analysis of this, and then we'll try to find out the actual value for this, or the quantitative analysis we'll do later. So first we have to find out we have to come up with a Gaussian surface, right? So first we'll stick to that. So for the time being, let us draw just a rectangle for us as a solenoid, right? There is these two surfaces are actually, the two ends are actually circular, but here we are seeing it flat. It is actually like this, right? So this will be like this. Okay, but we are not bothered about that. We are bothered about the Ampere's loop. Suppose this is the point where we have to find the magnetic field. Correct. So how are we going to do this? So we have to now create a loop. So loop should be, what should be the nature of the loop? The magnetic field should be constant at each and every point. We should try to achieve that. Okay, so in order to do that, let us have, so this, at this point there will be current due to, and there will be magnetic field due to these coils, and the coils here are like this. So what we do is we create, or we take a loop like this. Instead of circle this time, we take it, or we draw it as a rectangle. Now we have two portions here. And the two portions, if you see, are, this is actually going through this point P, and this wire which you can see here, you have to now imagine this in 3D, that if I take DL along this, let us take DL along this and along this, right? Now in these two parts, if the current, suppose the magnetic field direction is this, that means current is actually flowing like this, downwards in the front. So the magnetic field will be like this. Now in both the cases, that is in these sections A, B and C, D, if we consider these two sections A, B and C, D, so B dot DL, which is equals to B DL cos theta, will be actually equals to B DL cos 90 degree, and that is equals to 0. So magnetic field in this section and this section, the BDL, line integral of magnetic field, in these two sections is going to be 0, right? So that is the first thing which we have to note, right? So this we should understand, that in why here it is 0. Now consider a segment like this. Now, if you consider this as your segment, we are just discussing the different cases. So in this segment, now you try to understand from this side or from this side. So yours, this loop will actually look like this. And suppose the current is flowing in this direction. So what do we see here? Whatever current is going down, the same current is going up. So in this section, total I will be equals to 0. These 2 points we have to understand, and then only we'll be able to derive the expression for the magnetic field due to solenoid. So that we'll do in the next class, and that next class I'll start in another 2 or 3 minutes after this session gets ended. Okay, that's all for this session. Let's meet in 3 minutes from now.